Good evening, everybody. This is Captain Tinsley, Salty Abandon with Salty Podcast number 13. And it's always a good day to talk about sailing. And tonight, I'm going to talk to somebody who's practically my neighbor, just a couple hours away by car, a little further by sailboat. I'm going to bring him out right now. His name is Chuck, and he's from Gulf Breeze, Florida, and his boat is Sailing Vessel Freedom. How you doing, Chuck?
Hello, happy to be here.
Thanks for being here. So, you're from Gulf Breeze, right?
Yep.
So, I'm going to show for the Gulf Coast Challenge folks out there, because there might be some. I'm going to show you where he is as compared to me. So, okay, so this is the Gulf Coast. I mean, this is the Gulf of Mexico, and so I'm going to zero in on Gulf Shores. That's where I live right there. I don't know if you can see my cursor there. And then he lives right here. So was about an hour by car, Chuck?
About that.
Yeah.
And
So
a few hours by boat.
Now, where do you leave? Where do you put your boat? You actually have it out back of where you live, right?
Yeah, if you were to move your cursor a little bit further east to where you are, you'll see there's a neighborhood the other east.
The other east, of course.
Okay, right above where your cursor is, there's a neighborhood there with a bunch of canals.
Okay, right in here?
Mm-hmm, exactly. As a matter of fact, the further inmost canal, if you were to zoom in enough, you would actually see my sailboat on the satellite view. I'm on Grand Canal. So,
okay. Well, we won't show people.
I'll point it with my finger. How's that?
Yeah, I don't think we don't want to show them exactly where you live or anything.
But it's a community called Villa Venice. It's one of the few canal communities in the Gulf Breeze, Pensacola area, and we have a deep water canal system, which is awesome.
And how long does it take you to get out to the Gulf from here?
I'm
you
about
around here.
I come through the Bob Sykes Bridge, under the Bob Sykes Bridge, which goes to Pensacola Beach, and then I come on down past where America Magic races, and then out the pass there at Pensacola Pass. It's about 2 hours from my dock to the pass of Pensacola, so it's not bad.
And, so it takes you maybe about the same time to get to Fort McRae. This is right here's a great
that's Fort
spot.
McRae. Absolutely. Yeah. I've spent a lot of nights anchored at Fort McRae.
Yes, as soon as my boat is out of the clink, I call it. It's on the hard right now, getting some work done. As soon as it gets out of boat prison, I'm going to be right here. So maybe we'll meet you there.
I'll be there with you. As a matter of fact, we a few years back put a invite out to Island Packets through the IPYOA page to let's get a raft up of Island Packets, and never quite came about. I went. I had a great time. But
when is it? I thought isn't it coming up?
Well, the factory rendezvous unfortunately canceled. They didn't get enough response for that one. But I'm saying we've had a lot of Island Packets up here in the northern Gulf Coast, and I think it'd be fun to try to get.
Asking about.
Yeah. Haven't scheduled it yet, but I think we should.
Okay.
We'll find a date that you and I can work together on, and we'll go from there.
Yes. We'll make all the announcements right here and everywhere else.
No problem.
I should be ready in the next week and a half or something. I'm going to be bold and say that my hull is going to look perfect. When I saw the pictures of Hayden and Radine's boat at Mac Yachts, I told my guy here that's working on it, I said, I have hull envy. Please make it look. He goes, I'll keep that in mind.
I can assure you mine won't look like that, because I'm still about another year to coming out of the water again.
Well, this one, I'm going to show this picture. Is this your current boat right here?
Yes.
Okay, it's a little fuzzy, but
a buddy of mine took that. We were cruising down the Gulf Coast, down a little south of Tampa.
Oh wow! okay. I love that area down there.
And,
Look, you're moving along pretty good there.
yeah, we were doing great. It was one of those wonderful days. We have a Island Packet 445, which is the center cockpit version of the boat.
Right. I can see that.
And
so what year is it?
She's a 2006.
Okay.
And the gentleman who owned her before me, basically, I'm the second owner. He
Okay.
used the boat primarily as a condo. And
Yeah, understandably.
he took the boat, he wintered down in Miami area and summered up in New York. He hired, actually, Blaine Parks ran that boat between Miami and New York for the owner, who basically sat on it every now and then. And
wow.
Yeah, beautiful boat not to sail. And that's what he did.
So I'm going to show you something else that gives me PTSD from Hurricane Sally.
Oh, I'm scared now. Oh, yeah. That's
I
actually
was in my boat during that.
Yeah, that's actually behind our house.
Right.
And where the pilings are is where my dock ended, but the water was well up and above that. We took some superficial damage in Sally, primarily from a boat that came down and also dock boxes that floated down the canal on us.
So you didn't, it didn't pull the pilings out or anything?
No, that didn't. We were okay with that. It's kind of a normal process with us in this area. If you get the hurricanes, and I hate to use profanity like that, I'm sorry, but if you get those H things, you put the boat in the middle of the canal, put the boat in the middle of the canal with long lines, and you tie it, across the canal. We had some dock problems actually this past year, and when we rebuilt, I made some changes to our dock arrangement where I put mooring pilings in. I put 4 very large, heavy, long pilings, 2 at the ends of my property, and then 2 across the canal at the ends of my neighbor's property. So I have those to tie off to in a storm. And then the pilings that I actually tie the boat to are not part of the dock. They're right in front, set right in front of the dock, but they're not attached to the dock, so that when the boat pulls, it's not pulling against my dock and seawall. Trying to make it a little bit stronger.
So the only thing you really have to worry about is another boat coming down and the dock boxes.
And the dock boxes did more damage than not anything else, actually.
I bet.
It happens.
Well, Hurricane Sally caused me to get a bigger boat.
I've heard that. Yeah.
Yeah. So, it's not all a bad thing after you get through all the stress and the headaches and all that stuff. And then completely update the new boat, and then then you have a boat, or you have a new boat.
A year later.
Yeah, well, it wasn't too, I wrote my contract. I closed on a new boat 1 month after Sally. I didn't waste any time. Yeah. People were amazed.
Good for you.
I didn't want to be without one,
I understand.
So let's go back. You mentioned, I do know a little bit. Bill Boland said that you had an IP37 before, and he helped you sell that and buy this one. Mm-hmm. And how long have you had Freedom?
I guess we've had her about 6 years. About 6 years now.
And what have you done to her since you?
Oh, quite a bit, actually. Like I said, she was basically a floating condo. Yeah. So when we got her, and I replaced all the electronics on her, updated. The radar was an old digital radar, analog radar.
Oh, gosh.
You couldn't get the cards for the old system wouldn't work, and didn't even cover this area. Basically, I could have gone intercoastal from Miami to New York just fine with the chart cards that the guy had. But we got a new system, put a Raymarine, the Axiom Pro system on it, put a digital radar package on there, put an arch on it, solar panels on her. I put, there was no dinghy on it. There's no life raft on it. I replaced one of my backstays with an insulated backstay for a single sideband radio.
Yeah.
So I'm a ham operator, so I have that. And
nice.
then when we this past year when we were going to the Bahamas, met a neighbor who, just sitting in a conversation, he had this massive 88-pound Manson anchor in his yard. He didn't like it. Didn't look pretty on the sports fisherman. He wanted a nice stainless steel thing.
How many pounds?
88 pound. Yeah, it's a monster.
Wow.
And so I said, well, you want to sell it? And he sold it to me for $150. I could not get my wallet out fast enough to pay him. And then he says, I'm picking up this anchor. He makes a comment, gee, I've got this water maker. I didn't like it. It didn't make enough water for me. He's got this big sports fisherman with 2 ice makers, blah, blah, blah. And this thing only made 25 gallons of water an hour. So, yeah, you want that? I'll sell it to you for $500.
Oh my God.
I now have a water maker on the boat, and it was very, very helpful when we were cruising. So, I've added a lot to her. Put a lot of safety equipment on board, put, just, an E-per, all the things. Yeah. She's actually, thank you. She's actually sporting a brand new tri-radial cut mainsail, courtesy of Sure Sails and Hunter Riddle over there. So he does awesome work, and my
he's from for those people that want it's Pensacola, yeah.
Sure Sails in Pensacola. My main was getting a little baggy and was having a hard time. It's an in the mast furled main, which I'd never had before.
Me neither.
And
I'm starting to like it.
I'm a fan. I'm a huge fan. It's awesome.
Yeah. Yeah.
So we replaced that, and so she's fun. It's just I laugh and say she's my big old heavy girl.
Yeah. You're not going to win any races.
Nope. I might with the handicap. Now come on.
Yeah. Okay.
Cruising class with a handicap. But I won't spill the rum.
We can invent that, right?
Yeah.
Before we go any further, I need to announce tonight's sponsor, which is me. And in case you didn't know, I'm a real estate broker down here on the Gulf Coast. Sell mainly Gulf Shores, Orange Beach, and Perdido Key, Florida. And if you're enjoying this podcast, I do another one on Thursday nights called the Getting Beachy Real Estate Lifestyle Podcast. I do that with a team and / friend at Remax Orange Beach. And so please come on over and join us there at Getting Beachy Podcast. I appreciate you letting me do that. Got to make a living, right? Got to pay for that sailboat. That my boat is in boat prison right now. I mentioned that. And it'll be a big bill to get her out. So, but I'm excited.
And she's going to have a hull as pretty as Hayden's.
Yeah. Did I say that on the air? I said I had whole envy.
Yes, you did.
It's part. I was like, oh, I want that, And it got a little injured in that winter storm that we had a couple months ago. You remember that?
I do. Yeah. That's where I lost my seawall and dock. So.
Okay. Yeah. And let's go back to Sally. I think you mentioned that in your post in there. Everybody was like, why would you be on a boat in a 2? We're almost a 3. Like nobody intended that. And nobody knew. It was supposed to, it was going I'm glad you're gonna please help me with this. It was supposed to go to Louisiana,
I'll
and
give
I
you
went
one.
on my boat
Mhm.
just to adjust lines
Sure,
because I'm
absolutely.
not on the floating dock, and it turned into a monster. And then it
Well,
was going to Mississippi, and then it was on top of me in Orange Beach,
mhm.
Alabama, and then you were getting the dirty side.
Oh, well, I'll tell you, the day before the storm hit, I was with a buddy of mine. We were actually in a Mexican restaurant drinking margaritas, being happy that the storm wasn't coming to us. And
Poor Louisiana.
and
Yeah.
another friend of mine calls me up and says, "You know, Chuck, I've been watching this thing because I wasn't even planning on putting the boat out in the canal. What we weren't going to get it." And he calls me up and says, "You know, Chuck, I've been watching this thing and I'm just not comfortable with it. I think I'm going to put my boat out in the canal." And I said, "Oh, you son of a gun. If you're doing it, I guess I have to as well."
Thank God you did.
So I
Yeah.
came, left the margaritas. Why, we finished them, and then came back, and my buddy came with me, and we put the boat out in the canal, had it tied out, and I'm so glad I did because I'd have lost her. She'd have been in my yard. There would have been nothing to have stopped it coming in there. So
Right.
learned a valuable lesson, and the boat survived because of that,
Yeah,
because
from
of
your
my
friend.
buddy. Yeah, just
Because
because
you would
my
have been
buddy said.
sitting there drinking margaritas still.
Well, and the fact is, once it hit, there was nothing I could have done. At
Oh,
that point, it's all over. So,
yeah. It was hard because our lines broke, and we spent 2 hours trying to lasso them back because and it
oh
was just and then there's no pulling it off, what
no,
it was hitting, you're not
no,
gonna go
you're just
against
there.
waves and wind. You can't, there's no but, anyway, so and then, the cities of Orange Beach and Gulf Shores didn't even I think they'd finally called for an evacuation, but it was too late. I mean, it was and then all the
Great.
cars and none of the boats had triple lines.
Nope.
Nobody had their hurricane shutters out. The
Mm.
cars that got hauled out of here that were flooded and all the
Oh
boats, it
yeah.
was unbelievable.
Had a very good friend of mine who had a main ship trawler um, at the marina downtown Pensacola and off of Palafox,
Oh, yeah, yeah.
and the whole thing broke free. Not the boat, I mean the whole marina broke free.
Yeah.
All the floating
That was a
docks, the
mess.
fuel docks, and he ended up sunk against the wall with the floating um, fuel dock on top of him. And
Well,
there was
and for people who
actually,
don't know, how far inland is the Palafox Marina? It's
oh,
pretty
I don't
far
know,
in.
12 miles,
Miles. Yeah.
maybe 8 miles, something like that.
Yeah.
But I
Yeah.
mean, it just was no
The
stopping
waves were
things.
where I was, the waves were just like I was in the Gulf. I mean, it felt
Yeah.
like it, and I'm
Oh,
sure it was there too.
yeah, it was pretty wild, and he lost it all. And I mean,
Mm.
so many boats were lost on that one. There was actually a Island Packet 485 that ended up in the parking lot there by the marina.
Oh my gosh. And
So
he's
yeah,
was it salvaged at all or?
I think it was. I
Oh,
wasn't
cool.
familiar with the boat itself. You know, I love the Island Packets. They're freaking bulletproof,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
you
It's
know,
probably saved my life that night,
yeah, probably did.
If it was
Yeah,
like a Catalina 30
or
or
a
something, probably would
Hunter,
have crushed.
a
Yeah, it would have
Hunter.
been crushed because I was being slammed up against, a boat lift,
Hmm.
and
Oh
it
my
probably would
goodness.
have just crumbled.
Yeah. The
Um,
I know you lost your rigging, didn't you? Or
one of the stays, well, the ones on the side, what are those called?
no.
I have to show my
Yeah,
ignorance.
shrouds.
Uh, Shrouds, yeah. I always forget what things are called because 'cause
Yeah.
I'm usually out there by myself, and
Ah,
I just know what they do. But even though I've been to all the classes, it the very top of, the top
the
metal that
upper
goes
upper one.
across,
Yep.
of the no, I mean, of
This top
the boat
spreader.
lift the
Oh,
boat
the
lift.
top. Yeah. Okay.
My teak was all the way up there, and that
Ooh.
sharp metal started working on the shroud, and it just cut it.
Oh my.
Yeah, and it was working on others, and then the eye came, and I was able to sit out there and do this number and get a bunch of fenders in there.
No fun.
No. So, okay. You retired 7 years ago.
Mhm.
Tell us when did you start sailing? Did you as a child or as an
As a
adult?
child. I
As a child.
started at um, my mother loved the water. My father really wasn't much of a fan, and we were
Yeah.
living up in northern Indiana, right near Lake Michigan. So they bought a houseboat that I don't
Look,
think.
look at Jay. I'm buying an IP-27. You inspired me.
Good,
Yay!
awesome
That's what I
boat,
used to.
awesome boat.
Yeah.
But
Thank you,
they
James.
bought a houseboat that I don't think they ever took it out. They just basically used it as a weekend condo
Oh yeah.
on Lake Michigan. Well, the guy beside us, he was a sailor, and so I was like 8 years old, something. And I befriended him, and he taught me to sail, and I sailed up on Lake Michigan in a Lightning, which was there kind of like windmills or Hampton ones. They're just a little planing boat, wooden boat. That was awesome fun.
Oh my gosh, a wooden boat.
Uh, yeah,
How
it
big?
was. It was like 19 foot long, and
I hear
then
that's a great way to learn.
it is. And then through him, I ended up racing what was called Morse racing, midget ocean racing class. And I even got to sail as a child the Mackinac race, Chicago to Mackinac Island.
Yeah,
So
I've heard of Mackinac Island. Yeah.
it's one end of Lake Michigan to the other, and then
Well, Thad Johnson is watching from Wisconsin. Hey,
yeah,
Thad. He's a friend of mine. He
good.
probably knows a little bit about what we're talking about.
Oh yeah, Lake Michigan gets rough, I'll just say. But then
Yeah.
we moved to Virginia, and I started sailing on the Chesapeake Bay. We
Oh,
lived
how old were you were you a child when you
uh,
moved to?
about 12-ish, about 12,
Okay. Okay.
and
You moved
so
south.
moved south. My parents were all from North Carolina, so they were trying to get
Okay.
back, and
Yeah. Back to
we were,
America.
yep, back to America, out of the cold, frozen wastelands. Sorry,
Right,
sorry,
right.
Thad. No
Right.
no offense,
Sorry, Thad.
but the we were just about, I don't know, half a mile from a yacht club. There, the Warwick Yacht Club, and I used to ride my bike to the Warwick Yacht Club, and I would swap scrubbing teak decks, because most sailboats back then had teak decks, for people to take me out sailing. And
Oh my gosh. I love that
uh,
story. I love this
so
kind of story. That
uh,
is
I I raced, did some racing up there with what was called CBYRA, Chesapeake Bay Yacht Racing Association,
yeah.
and was at the yacht club one day, and a guy had a little sailboat. He'd had a bad day sailing. He'd had a bad day, and he came in, put his little boat on the trailer, got in his car, slammed it in gear, hadn't locked it down, hadn't locked the trailer. Boat slid off the trailer and cracked right behind the centerboard well. And he's cussing up a storm and says, "For $50, I'll sell this blankety blank boat." And I
Oh,
walked up
did
and
you
said, "Mister, I
man,
got $50." So I spent that summer learning how to fiberglass, and I had a Rhodes Robin, and it was just a little open sailboat. It was a
that's
sloop
the
rig.
kind of boat it is? That's the
Yeah,
kind of boat
that
it
was
is?
the name. It was designed by Rhodes. I forgot his first name, but it was a little bitty sailboat, and I had a centerboard well, open boat. Had a jib main on it, and that was my boat till I went and got involved in the fumes, perfume and car fumes. So
So you from like 12 till 16 or
yeah,
something or
17, somewhere around it. When I headed off to college, I sold the boat. And
let me just say, James, you said you were buying an IP-27. Tell us more. Where are
yeah,
you? And are you in the process? Where are you in the process? We want to hear more. So you sold the boat, and so did you just not sail for a while?
In college, I didn't have much of an. When I come home, I would get on boats, other people's boats, and after school, got married, and when I absolutely could not afford anything, I bought a Catalina 22, and
Okay, yeah, those are
so
good to
it was a
practice and
swing
race
keel.
and
Oh
yeah.
yeah, but I mean, we had a new baby, and we would take the new baby, the dog. My wife should have killed me. She absolutely should have killed me. But spent a lot of time. We were sailing Chesapeake Bay.
Why?
Probably did a little more on that boat than I should have. You
Oh,
know.
okay.
But anyway,
My first boat was first one that I owned was a Catalina 25 with a swing keel.
okay. So
It was a great practice
oh
boat. I had it
yeah,
for about 10 months, and then I was ready to upgrade.
yep. We went from that one to a O'Day 28,
Okay. Lots of
and
headroom. Lots
uh,
of headroom.
compared to that Catalina 22, you got it.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
I didn't do good by my family sometimes. My youngest daughter was born on June 28th, and we did go for a 3-day sailing weekend, 4th of July weekend.
With the baby?
Uh-huh.
Oh.
5 days postpartum. Like I said, she should have killed me. But
Did the baby grow up to love sailing?
the baby did. My older daughter, she's not such a fan.
Oh, okay.
But they're both.
Seasick?
No, she would rather do other things. So,
Okay.
but they're both. They did both grow up to marry naval officers. So we obviously got some
Oh,
water in there somewhere. So,
right.
love of water. But we moved from Virginia, sold the boats, moved to Birmingham for just a year or two, and then moved down here to Pensacola. And I was buying boats again. So
Okay, and what did you buy when you got to Pensacola?
we lived on in Navarre off of East Bay, and I had a Catalina 28 with
Oh,
a wing keel, or yeah, the wing keel because it could get
yeah.
up to the dock. And then when we went from the 28 to the 37 island packet, and I was like, oh my goodness, it was an epiphany, night and day difference.
I
So
felt like going from the Catalina 25 to the Island Packet 27 was like going from a toy to the real deal.
yes,
I was intimidated, I was like, I had to just make myself go out there and leave the dock by myself and sail it and everything. But it was just a real change, wasn't it?
sure. Oh yeah, and I mean it's just a full displacement, heavy boat. I felt safe everywhere all the time, and then, but it was missing a few things that my wife and I really wanted. I was still working at the time, so
Mm.
I could go cruising for a week, but I couldn't
On
do
a
anything
37? On a 37 or the
only
28?
because on the 30, well, both of them, but I couldn't get off and do the type of cruising I wanted to because of work.
Oh, okay.
I had to go to work.
Yeah,
Um,
that's
that
that
work thing gets in the way sometimes. It is a
it sure
four-letter word.
does. Yeah.
It is a four-letter
Yeah.
word ending in K. But
Yeah.
but so we love the 37. We really wanted though, if we were going to go do some extensive cruising, we wanted a gen set on board, generator on board because it gets hot down here, and we
Yeah.
wanted just a few little amenities. And we looked into putting it onto the 37, and really figured out there wasn't room for it, and the way the
Right.
layout was done. And honestly, by the time I paid to get all that stuff done and all, I really could start looking at a different boat that had these features we wanted, and that's how we ended up. We started looking at a 420 with Bill Bolin.
Mhm.
Daggone it, Bill took my wife aboard a 440, and she quickly decided that the 440 was a much nicer boat, but the one we looked at wasn't the one she wanted. So we looked at a couple others, and Bill calls me up one day out of the blue and says, Chuck, there's this 445 that's going to go on the market.
It's getting bigger.
Well, actually, it's the same. It is the same hull. The 440 and the 445 are the same hull. He said, but I don't know what you think of a center cockpit. So I don't know. I've never sailed one. But we went out and looked at it, and it was, how you walk on board, it's like, yeah, this one's it. That's what happened.
Yes.
It was ours. We just had it was our boat. We just had to work out the details. And
what is your wife's name?
Donna.
Donna. Oh, shout out to Donna, everybody. Everybody shout out to Donna.
Yeah.
So when did you get married? We kind of skipped over that.
We've been married slightly longer than forever. We got married in 1981.
How did you get her into sailing? Was she already into sailing?
She was not into sailing. She lived near the water in Newport News, Virginia.
That's where my grandmother's from. Okay. I got family, deep roots there.
There you go.
But I don't know anybody there now, but.
But she was never much on the water, but I think she kind of figured if she was going to hang around me.
They built some big boats there, the big ships.
We were going to be on, even during college, I was racing those radio-controlled model boats.
Oh, okay.
Just to do something with them. It's
deep in you.
There's salt water veins.
Yeah.
But anyway, so she has put up with my obsession for a long time.
I want to hear more about the 445, but what made you? I always like to ask people, what made you jump from the Catalina? What made you go island packet?
We spent some time at the Annapolis Boat Show over several years, and I really thought I wanted a Pacific Seacraft. I thought I wanted a Pacific Seacraft 37. And
I thought you did.
Yeah, but then I got on board an island packet. It's like, man, I like this better. And
who doesn't?
There's just the quality of the boat. She's a heavy displaced boat, but she's not drawing, 7 foot of draft. I mean, she's relatively shallow draft, which is great for cruising.
What is your draft?
5 foot.
Okay.
Probably 5'3" when we go cruising.
You weighted down.
Yeah, we put a few extra things on board, but and we were looking at boats, and I was in Mobile, Alabama, at the boatyard there, and they had a 37. We were looking at something else. I don't remember what it was, and the guy said, I got this 37 island packet over here, and it's like, holy cow! And we were still talking that we knew thought we were going to want a bigger boat. And Donna said to me, we got a few years before we can really jump off and go cruising. Why not do this 37 now? And we'll enjoy it. We'll do local stuff. We'll do some additional stuff. And then when you're ready to retire and go big time, we'll swap boats. And
you're thinking the 37 wasn't going to be big enough for you?
Would have been fine for me. My wife wanted a few more amenities.
You got to make her happy.
Absolutely.
She wanted her own room and her own bathroom.
We wanted, like I said, a gen set was important for air conditioning. A large enough freezer to be able to take enough food to head to the islands.
Okay.
And enough. So those were two. And the other thing is, my wife hated the pump heads on those boats. She wanted a vacuum flush system, and I know I could have added, but
you got to make her happy. You made the right decision. You made the right decision.
I don't regret it at all.
Yeah. I'm just here to reinforce.
Yes. Hey, she puts up with me going. And we go in comfort. So
let me shout out to James again. We still want to hear about your purchasing the IP27. We love hearing these kind of boat stories. So if you're still listening, James, we want to hear where you are in the process and where do you live, by the way. Okay, so the island packet, 445.
Hmm.
What was your first trip on that boat?
First trip was bringing her home. We picked her up
From Mobile.
no, the 37 we picked up in Mobile,
Oh, okay.
but the
Yeah.
445 we picked up in Aventura, Florida, which is
Okay.
Miami.
Ah,
And so the first trip
wow.
was bringing her home. So we
I
went.
know this trip. I know this trip very well.
So we picked her up in Miami. Um, did all
What was
the
your
work
route? What was your
south to Marathon, under the
Yeah,
bridge at Marathon,
yeah.
north, stopped off of Little Shark River
Yeah.
in the
Lots of bugs there.
Everglades. Actually, when we went into when we were coming up to Little Shark, the weather was super calm, and I anchored off of I think it's called Lost Man Key, which is just north of Little Shark. But we anchored like 6 miles offshore in 12 feet of water.
Okay. All
So the
right.
bugs weren't bad.
Well, I went in and
I have been
back
in there
there.
before too.
Ooh, at sunset and sunrise, you better be covered up.
Oh yeah. And at night, shine a flashlight out around there and look at all the eyes looking back at you.
Yeah. You better make sure you got screens in place.
Oh, no doubt.
Or your generator.
So, but we did. So we just
Then
went,
where'd you go from there?
north.
Love
See,
hearing
I guess it was Fort Myers, Factory Bay, and
Right.
then Factory Bay. I think it was in
Well,
at
Factory Bay is Marco Island.
Marco. Yeah, I said
Yeah.
Fort Myers, Marco. Sorry.
Yeah.
And then jumped north. I think we did go into Fort Myers, and then went on up to.
Did you anchor in Fort Myers? Or
Yes.
did you go?
We anchored.
So you were anchoring this whole way.
Oh yeah, anchored every. I'm
Okay.
cheap. I'm a sailor. I'm cheap.
Well,
The wind
well,
is
I was
free.
gonna
Everything
say,
else
are you
ought to
an
be.
anchor guy? You're a marina guy?
Oh, I'm definitely an anchor guy.
Oh, cool.
We spend. I told you I have this massive anchor. I sleep really well with my anchor down.
85 pounds. I mean, is that what's required for a
No,
445?
no, no, no,
That's why
no.
you're sitting so low in the water.
No, she's. We had a 65-pound Delta fast set on there as well, and
Okay.
that's the right size anchor. But you know what?
Okay.
I have never heard somebody in a blow say, "Gee, I wish I'd put a smaller anchor down."
Right. Right.
So,
Smart
but
man.
we just
Smart.
went. We just kept working our way north, and then we went in at St. Pete. We stopped
Yeah.
a couple places. I'm trying to remember where else we stopped. Oh, Venice. We stopped at Venice.
Love Venice. Did you stay at
Yeah.
Crow's Nest?
We did stay at Crow's Nest. That was the
Oh,
only place in a marina we stayed on
oh,
that
that's
trip.
perfect. Love
And
that
then,
place. Did you get a burger?
I had their prime rib. Are you kidding?
Did you see
But no,
Pepe? Pepe the bird?
I think so. I don't remember.
They have them in a cage right there
Yeah,
at the.
I'm sure I did. I probably killed a few brain cells between now and then.
Okay, all right.
But from there, we got up as far as St. Pete, and then stopped at St. Pete, and that's where I had contracted to have the arch put on the boat.
Where?
And Lippen something or another.
That's the name of the
There's a
company.
yeah.
Okay.
Bill Boland suggested him. I jokingly say
Oh,
that I use Bill Boland's big boat of boating resources, because he knows
yeah,
everybody. So
yeah. I
they did
used
it.
the yacht rigger in St. Pete,
Yeah.
but
Oh, we did too. Yeah. That's a
they're
whole
all
other
busy,
story.
so
Oh
they're not
yeah.
hurting for business.
Yeah. There was actually went down. We pulled the mast while we were there, as well as put on the um, arch, because I wanted to replace my backstay with the insulated backstay for the ham radio antenna, and I also got all my electronics replaced while I was there. So when we
Oh,
headed
you
out,
waited till then. So did you have any depth
yeah, I
finders or
had
anything?
I had some, I had electronics. It just I think Tampa was as far north as I could go with the electronics package I had in there and have anything on the charts.
I see.
And
Okay.
but again, there's a great guy there who is, I think it's called K2 Marine, and he's just awesome. Marine Systems, what it is.
We like to plug people here on the Salty Podcast.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Kevin Kolowski. He's in Tampa area. He's still there, and he is awesome. But when we were going, I had all these people set up before I got, I talked to them along the way.
Sure.
So, I knew I was going to be there basically 2 weeks getting all this stuff done.
Boat prison.
Yep. But I stayed on the boat, and Donna and some friends who've gone with us on this up from Marathon up, they rented a car and they headed back. And then once we had everything up running and working, she drove back down with another friend, and we kept going. So we went from St. Pete to Clearwater, and then
did you anchor in Clearwater?
Anchored behind Clearwater Yacht Club. There's an awesome little anchorage there. I mean, now your chain's going to come up absolutely coated in mud, but it is super protected, and you've got good access to the beach and to everything right there. Right.
So that's not right by. So that's in one of those coves. It's not clear. It's not one of the municipal ones. It's it's with the private ones. Okay.
No. But but there's actually, you anchor right behind the fire police station.
Okay. Clearwater, not Clearwater Beach, right?
Clearwater Beach. I'm sorry.
Okay. One of those. Okay. Yeah. What is that? It sounds like you're on your. No, I think it's cool. It kind of sounds nautical. So
somebody is sending me a text message, and my phone's dinging.
It sounds like you're on your boat. Ding, ding, ding.
Yeah, no. So we jumped from and the Clearwater Beach, or the Clearwater Yacht Club, Clearwater Beach Yacht Club. It's an awesome, because you jump right out from behind their place. You go right through the under the bridge, and you're out.
It's I've been under that bridge at night, 3 o'clock in the morning, all different times.
And from there, we headed, I think on that trip, we headed to Apalachicola.
Okay.
Or no, to Panama City. We went right to Panama City.
Okay. Where did you stay there?
Anchored behind Shell Island.
Okay.
As you come in the pass at into Panama City, if you head east, kind of opposite Tyndall Air Force Base,
right?
There's a great anchorage right in there, big anchorage.
Good to know.
And,
okay.
Awesome anchorage, and then from there we just walked home. I've gone. I've made 19 crossings on the Gulf. And
what do you mean you walked home from Panama City?
Panama City, Destin to.
Oh, okay. So you anchored in Destin, inside where the harbor is?
Yeah. Went and ate a burger somewhere, and.
Sure, that's a great place to hang out.
Yeah,
that's very, very festive.
And then from there we went home. So.
All right. So these are all very familiar waters for me.
Oh yeah.
So where did you? I forgot what you mentioned. You mentioned you sailed. What's the furthest you've been on this boat?
Chesapeake Bay.
You took this boat to Chesapeake Bay?
Yeah. A couple years, I guess it was the 2022. Yeah, 2022, I think it was. We left out of here, went down to Marathon, because we have to cross at Marathon. Right. Actually, that year we went down to Fort Myers, jumped at Fort Myers to the Dry Tortugas, sailed to the Dry Tortugas. Loved that. Yeah. Went through the Cuban fishing fleet at the middle of the night, which was interesting. And then
I feel like I went through a fishing fleet one night, and they were all yelling at me, and well, it was too big to go around. It was too. And
Oh,
so I was like, "I'm going through," and I was by myself, and I heard some cussing and some
yeah.
I was like,
But
"Get out of the way."
yeah, we went through the Cuban fishing fleet and
No.
anchored in Fort Jefferson, excuse
Nice.
me. Spent, I guess we spent 6 days at Fort Jefferson in the Dry Tortugas. Loved that.
So you already had the water maker and
No,
the
did not have the
oh,
water
you
maker or
oh,
anything at that point. Uh,
okay.
and then what we filled up in before we jumped off, we also that boat carries 250 gallons of fresh water.
Yeah, and
So
then if you throw a bunch of bottled water in there, you guys are fine.
yeah. So
Yeah.
but we carried 250 of fresh water and 175 gallons of diesel. So
Wow.
yeah, she can go a long way. So we went to
What's your
Fort
horsepower?
Jefferson, 75.
Wow.
So under power, I cruise at about 7 knots. So
Nice.
then stopped at Marquesas Key, spent a couple days there, and then
I
went
was
to
there a
Key
few months
West,
ago.
and then went to
Yep.
Key West, and
Yep.
had an awesome time in Key West. And then we
Of course.
just started
Where did you stay
walking.
there? Did you get a slip there?
No, we got a slip there. Met some friends there, and they
Key West Bite?
no Galleon. I
Oh
think it's
yeah, I've stayed there. It's real expensive.
it's very expensive. I stuck my friend who wanted to come join us with the bill for that one. I
Oh,
said,
that's
"I'm
good.
giving you a hotel room, pony it up." Anyway,
That's very stout.
no, it was beautiful marina though, and it's right where you want to be.
The
So
bathrooms and the laundry doesn't quite hold up to the
no,
price though.
it doesn't.
Yeah.
It truly doesn't. But we,
This old rusty old washer, and I'm like, "Come
oh,
on."
much as I'm paying a foot here, this is ridiculous.
True. Nice dock.
Yeah.
Absolutely, and nice people on the dock and
hmm
everything. But
So
they need to do a little upgrade
they
there.
need to, they need to up their game on that.
Yeah.
So then we went up the East Coast and didn't stop till we got to the Chesapeake Bay, and that was kind of our old home stomping grounds, and we spent the entire summer in the Chesapeake Bay. We have family up there and sailed, and
I watched a show a couple years ago about Chesapeake, and it kinda got me wanting to go there.
it's great.
Um, you like that? I mean, that's where Hayden and Radine
hmm
are from. They're from that area.
Yeah,
Well, that's where
we're
Newport News is and everything.
oh yeah, that's like I said, that was home for us, and that's where I said a lot of sailing there. There's some
Right.
awesome creeks and all that you can sail into, and yeah, it was fun. And again, we had family, so it was a good chance to visit with family. Spent some time. Went to Yorktown. Went to just Deltaville and it was just a good
And
time.
there's lots of places to dinghy
hmm
in and go have,
Absolutely.
that
Now
that sounds perfect.
we rented a marina slip by the
Okay.
month when we were there
Right.
to use as a home base, and that was really worth doing. And
Sure.
our one daughter is she and her husband are stationed in Norfolk, so it was great to
Okay.
spend time there with them. So
So
and then came
didn't you
back.
say that didn't you said have you been to the Caribbean or you been to the Bahamas or anything?
I've been to the Bahamas and to the Caribbean. Not I've been to the Bahamas in this boat.
Okay.
We spent 3 months last year in the Exuma Islands in the Bahamas.
Oh,
Uh,
wow. In Georgetown?
didn't quite make it to Georgetown. My wife, we had to
I
turn
made it
around
to
a little early.
Nassau. That's as far as I made it.
Well, we made it Nassau and then on to
Yeah.
the Exumas. We got about 40 miles. We got to a place called Black Point, and my wife injured her knee, and we had to turn around, make
Ah,
our way back. My one daughter, who loves sailing, she and her husband actually flew into Staniel Key, and
okay.
they spent some time there with us, and we did all the tourist things. We went and swam with pigs and went
Oh,
to
sure.
the.
I haven't been able to
I
do
won't
that yet.
I won't be swimming with pigs again.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Did you get
no,
bit?
no, they just whatever. Uh, went snorkeling and diving um, at the Thunderball Grotto. We
Yeah.
went to Norman. We have some friends who live on Norman's Key, and that's where Escobar did his drug running operations back in the day. And there's a
Are there like planes that are wrecked
oh
there?
yeah,
Yeah.
we
Okay.
saw quite a few planes wrecked.
Yeah.
One of them, it's not a DC-3, it's the cargo version of that plane that's wrecked, and that was kind of cool. And it's actually the top
From
of
the
the
old
fuselage.
days.
Top of the fuselage is you know still right at the water surface. But yeah, it was
Yeah.
cool. But I love the Exumas. I'm ready to go back. We'll
Me
be
too.
going back again, and that's
I just need to win the lottery so I don't
there
have to
you
worry
go.
about work.
Yeah, I told you that work is a 4-letter word ending in K.
So what is
So
your dream destination? Like what? Like before you die, I'm going
hmm,
there.
I don't know. Uh, we've done this. Definitely going back to the Exumas,
Yeah.
and I'm going to spend more time in the Bahamas. Um, we have
You're
done
not or
several.
you are?
I am.
You
Oh,
are.
I am
Yeah.
definitely.
Well, there's
Uh,
700 islands. You could just stay there forever.
yeah. Um,
You have
we have
Starlink?
done. I do not. We talked
I've got
about it, and you guys. Oh, there you go.
It's a
Yeah,
game
I'm not.
changer, especially if you're
I'm
still
not.
working.
I'm not sure I want to be that connected.
It's under
We'll
you can
see.
always unplug it. You can unplug
That's
it when you
right.
don't wanna be fair
Um,
enough.
but we've done charters out in the windwards and the leewards and the BVI, and that was always
Mhm.
fun.
Yeah.
Uh, you know, did St. Lucia to Grenada. We did St. Mark's, and all the saints. I mean, uh,
And
I
those
love
are
Tobago Key. The Tobago Key is just gorgeous, wonderful. That's in the Grenadine Islands. That's
but
I'll
these
go
were
back
all
there
on
again. Those
these
were
were
on
on rental
charter
boats.
boats. Yeah, we did charter. We do 2-week charters, and
Do you wanna take your boat there?
I wouldn't mind that. Yeah, I could do that. I,
Did
the
you
day will
see the
come.
video where, uh, the 485 that those folks, um, how they shipped their boat down to, St. Thomas? It was
Why?
no, they well, it's not like they take it apart. You just
No, I
sail
know
it
they put it.
on.
I know they
Yeah,
put it on
okay,
those
yeah.
those transport ships.
Well, the
Why?
boat was perfect because it was perfect when they got there.
Okay, there you
Why?
go. Yeah, I
Okay,
have.
fair enough.
If I'm going to St. Thomas, I know how to get there.
Yeah, yeah, me too. Okay, so you were talking about
Oh, Marv's weather.
Marv Marv's Weather. Tell us about
Yeah,
that.
that's one of. There's several apps that I really depend on, and I just think are phenomenal. I'm sure you use Windy. Windy's great for
I
getting
use passageweather.com. That's what I
passage
use.
weather's good. There are a bunch of them.
Right.
But Mars weather, and it's MARVS weather.
And
Um,
it's an app.
no, it's actually not an app. It's a website. But if you register with them,
Mhm.
they will send you one email a day.
Hmm.
They don't sell your email address. You don't get flooded with spam, but you get one email a day, and they're actually several of them you can sign up for. One, they give you a 16-day weather passage or Gulf crossing.
You said Marv's
So
Weather.
MARVS,
Weather?
Marv's weather. I think it's
Okay.
Marv's weather. Hang
I'm
on a
gonna pull
second,
it
I'll
up.
look.
This is the kind of thing people wanna know, these sailors, you
Uh,
know? There it is.
yeah, they give you several different options. One is they'll send you what's called the Florida Gulf of Mexico 16-day crossing report. And they have it running from Carabel to Clearwater. And you'll get a reading of wind speed and direction and the wave height and direction. And it's awesome. And it's usually pretty daggone accurate. You can also get a crossing going from Miami to Bimini and several of those. And then there's
here it is.
Yeah.
Is
All
this
right.
okay?
Right, you're on. Scroll down. All right. The ones you have pulled up right now, they'll give you the offshore. They'll give you the buoys in those various areas. Like if you go now, when you get your cursor on, you see this is the Mustang Oil platform. And if you keep scrolling down, it'll give you Mobile Bay. It'll give you all the way
Corpus
Panama
Christi,
City.
Padre,
Uh-huh.
Galveston to Key West. Look at that.
Yeah. And what this gives you is what you can expect for wind and wave height and wind direction and wave direction.
There's a lot here. Look at all the Gulf. Okay.
Oh, yeah. There's your
rim route. What is that?
It's the rim route. It goes basically Appalach to Tarpon Springs, I think, or Carabel to Tarpon Springs or something like that.
And here's Dog Island.
Yep. And if there's
Appalachia
another one that
Look at that.
Oh yeah, go up a little bit. All right, no, you're right there. I'm sorry. Appalachia to Clearwater.
Yeah.
Now, with this one, that is actually, there's your first few days. But if you scroll to the right, it gives you 16 days on this.
Scroll to the right.
Oh, I'm sorry. You've pulled. There's another one they'll pull up that actually gives you a 16-day forecast.
Okay, this is the most accurate though. The next 3 days.
Next 3 is absolutely accurate, but if you're sitting there trying to figure out when I want to take my crossing and how bad I want to get beat up, this is what I use, and I tell you,
this is what people want to know. I appreciate you.
This one's awesome. And
talking about this.
I get Mars Weather. I get 2 from Mars Weather every day.
I'm going to sign up.
There you go. And you're going to want not only the buoy reports, but you also want to get the
tropical weather.
The crossing reports, and then his tropical weather is very good too. They'll send you that. There's another service called Crown Weather. I don't know if you're familiar with that, but he basically takes the Crown Weather stuff and I don't know who cuts it from who, but they do, and it's a very good site. Very good information.
This is awesome.
Yeah, it's if you go down.
Look at that.
They're calling for a heavy duty hurricane season this year. And as I was mentioning to you before we got on, if you go down a little bit more, they're going to give you the where they think it's going to hit. And unfortunately, Central Gulf Coast looks like it's got a bullseye on it this year. But it's you never know.
You never know.
But
you can't think that way.
It's been great. I mean, that's a great weather app. And then so is the, I like Windy as well.
Here's windy.com. He's got it feeding in here.
Yep. So it's all good there. But yeah, I recommend those. He's got it set up for a variety of different areas.
So who is Marv?
I don't know.
Marco Island. He's in Marco Island.
I just don't know.
Well, there
somebody
he is.
turned. Yeah, there you go.
He's on North Collier. He's right. He's right near Rose Marina. I'm very familiar with that area.
There you go. Somebody turned this on to me, and I thanked him, and I sent him a little bit of cash because I appreciate him, and
Hey, Marv, we're trying to send you some people. So I guess he asked for donations, huh?
Yeah. But they don't beat you up with that either.
No.
And he doesn't sell.
Passage Weather will ask for something every once in a while. And I throw him something a little bit.
And Windy, if you want, I love Windy as well. And now that's an app, not a website.
Right.
And it's great. It gives you not only the wind direction speeds, but wave heights, and it gives it all to you. And So when we're cruising, I spend some time there every day. I also, as I mentioned, I'm a ham radio operator, and
Yeah.
it's a bit of a dying art, but there's still a lot of us out there. And there is
Right.
the Waterway Cruising Network that meets at 7 o'clock Central Time every day. And when we were crossings, and there's another one that meets at 5 o'clock in the evening, and you can check in with them, and they'll keep tabs on where you are.
Oh,
So
that's awesome.
yeah, very cool.
So we need to, as we mentioned before, we need to get this island packet mini VU thing, whatever we're gonna
You
do
got
over
it.
there.
I'll work on
Um,
getting that. I'll reach out to you and see when you and I are both available, and we'll make it happen. We'll just put the
soon
word
as
out
my
to everybody else.
soon as I
Get your
know a
girl in
hard
the
date
water.
for, yeah, yeah. Okay, well, I guess that's it, and we'll have to do an
Well, thank
update
you.
and maybe do some video at the mini VU or whatever we wanna call it, and
Sounds like a
we'll send
plan.
an update. We'll try to get all
Absolutely.
our local IPers out there.
Absolutely. And let me just mention, I know you had Hayden on there and Renee, but they do such an awesome service to the fleet with the IPYOA Facebook
They sure
page,
do.
as well as their the the IPYOA website. And can't recommend it enough. There is so much knowledge in the community, and
Yeah,
I know we had to
it's
replace our
endless.
hot water heater on our boat, and it was designed the way the thing was designed. You could not get it out, so we had to cut. It killed me, but I had to cut to get it out. But there were people had done it. There were so many pictures and how you do this, and you cut it that way. Don't do this. Do this that way. And
Right, don't make this mistake, but
yeah,
here's the right way to do it.
yeah.
Yeah,
And you were asking why an IP? That's why. It's
yeah,
There is no brand that is better supported, not only by people like Bill Bolin with IP Ancestries, but
yes,
also by just the community in general. And and I've had good response when I've needed things from the factory as well. So
yeah.
I've never
It's
bought a
very
new
well supported
IP.
by
Yes,
the
it is.
owners, all for free and for fun, and, as you probably watched last week when I
Mhm.
interviewed, Radine and
Yeah,
Hayden, and I didn't
absolutely.
even know the extent of how far back it was
Oh
that
yeah,
they've brought the community together, so it's so impressive
we
and
owe them a
so
great
helpful.
deal of gratitude. So,
Absolutely.
but
All right, well, thank you very much, Chuck.
thank you.
I'm gonna have you back on, okay?
Oh, you need to get somebody who's got a little more experience than me, but
Oh my
I'm all
gosh,
good.
we could talk for 3 hours. What are you
Uh,
talking about?
I've enjoyed
Thank
it.
you so much, Chuck.
Take
Okay,
care now.
bye-bye.
Bye-bye.